All right, guys, we got a special show that we're going to be doing today. Special, kind of a top 10 list we're going to do. We're going to be going back a decade. And my guy, Ryan Farrell, is joining me today to go over this with me. So we're going back a decade, the top 10 best movies from 2010. We're going to be each doing our own list and kind of reacting to each other's list here. So, Ryan, how you doing, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I can't wait to go over this list, dude. You'd mentioned this
Yeah.
earlier, and I'm excited. So we're going to kind of just jump right into it here. But before we start into our top 10 list, we do have to acknowledge something. So this is a top 10 movies of 2010. But there was one movie that came out in 2009 in December that dominated that year, and that was the movie Avatar. And when we were talking beforehand, before we got started, I think we both felt that Avatar kind of deserved to have its own credit there, because it, box office wise, for sure, it was the biggest movie of the year, and for an entire
Absolutely.
decade, it was the biggest movie of all time. So just right off the bat, your thoughts on Avatar as a movie as a whole and its impact on 2010 in general.
Well, Avatar was a absolutely phenomenal experience, and yeah, some people look at it now and it's just kind of a fancy sci-fi version of Dances with Wolves, whatever you want to call it. I loved Avatar. Absolutely loved Avatar. Saw it on, I think, Christmas weekend in December 2009, and then didn't even see it in 3D until February 2010. And yeah, like you said, I mean, that movie was just absolutely dominated the box office throughout 2010, regardless of all the other releases that year. And even up until August, I think, is when they finally released the extended edition of Avatar, which, does there really need to be an extended edition of Avatar? Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Yes, there was. Yes, there was.
So, but
I
yeah, overall, great experience.
mm, yeah, I have to agree. It was a movie that kind of nobody saw coming. To be honest, when I first heard of it, I was like, because this was before the last Airbender movie came out. So,
Oh yeah,
and if
yeah.
you're familiar with the TV show Last Airbender, it's called Avatar: The Last Airbender. So when I first heard, oh, Avatar's coming out, like, oh, The Last Airbender, awesome, man. They're going, and they're like, no, 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 this is James Cameron, and I'm like, what is James Cameron doing making an Avatar: The Last Airbender movie? They're like, no, no, this is something totally different. And then before it launched, it was just the blue creature movie, or what, like the blue
Yeah, the
people
blue
movie. Yeah,
people.
yeah, the blue
The
people
blue
movie.
people.
Yeah. And then it came out and I saw it, and the first time I saw it, I just saw the regular version of it. And I immediately had to go back the next day and watch it in 3D, because I was like, oh, dude, you got to go see this in 3D, which
Yeah,
that
yeah,
movie launched kind of the resurgence of 3D in theaters as a whole.
yeah, yeah.
So it was kind of a big deal in that regard as well. But in my opinion, I mean, it was, like you said, an experience, and it did something that movies nowadays don't do. Like, for instance, Avengers Endgame, which is now the number one box office movie of all time. But Endgame made 300 and I think it was like 350 or 380 million dollars its first weekend. Most of
350.
Yeah, I think Avatar made like 70 million dollars its first weekend.
77.
Yeah. So
Yeah, 77
yeah,
million.
there you go. So $77 million its first weekend. What it had was legs, and it kept going and going
Yeah,
and going
yeah.
and going, and that just doesn't happen. I mean,
No.
and I think it's a Cameron staple, right? Because the same thing happened with Titanic. You know, Titanic comes
Yeah.
out and they just go and go and go. So, but yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
man, just it was an experience, and it changed the landscape of movies for a long time, and so we'd be remiss not to mention it. But technically, it's a 2009 movie, and that's not what we're doing. So we're doing 2010. So
Absolutely. So,
so that being said, here.
2009. Oh.
All right. So 2010 movies. Here we go. Why don't you? Do you want to go first, man?
2010.
2010.
2010 in retrospect.
All right, 2010 in retrospect. What is your number
In
10?
retrospect.
Your number 10 movie for 2010.
So I'm throwing out a tie for number 10. And the reason it's a tie, I'm going with The Social Network and The King's Speech. Both movies, good in their own right, both neck and neck for that Best Picture, Best Director race,
Uh-huh.
where you had David Fincher, who was winning a ton of awards for The Social Network,
Yeah.
and then out of nowhere, Tom Hooper ends up winning the Best Director Oscar for The King's Speech,
Yeah.
and then King's Speech ended up upsetting Social Network for Best Picture and
Yeah.
such. So kind of, I was really excited to see The Social Network based on the teaser preview and based on the fact that it's a David Fincher film. I'm a huge David Fincher fan. He's one of my personal favorite filmmakers. Um, but when I saw The Social Network, I was a little disappointed with it. But
Really?
this is yeah. I guess I didn't realize that Jesse Eisenberg, like Mark Zuckerberg in that movie, was a douche.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
For him to be like, I had a hard
there's no other way
time.
to say it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I did not realize he was such a douche. I thought this was going to be like a really interesting movie of how Facebook came about, and then a lot of the time I was just like, man, this guy's a douche.
Yeah.
So it took a little of the took me out of it a little bit. But in retrospective, now looking at The Social Network, I've seen it a couple times. The film editing is one of the best things of that movie. It is so neat, so rap and tap, like
Mhm.
cadenced. It's so perfect. The scene where they do the remix of In the Hall of the Mountain King for the regatta race is just a movie that, as the screenwriter Aaron Sorkin said to David Fincher, you took this movie about computer coders and made it look like bank robberies. And it's like, yeah, it kind of like it with the way it was edited. Yeah, it was. So
Yeah.
Social Network, absolutely genius piece of filmmaking from David Fincher.
Mm.
The screenplay is absolutely phenomenal. The King's Speech, also phenomenal piece of filmmaking from an unknown Tom Hopper.
Mhm.
Great performances from Colin Firth and Jeffrey Rush. Absolutely great.
Yeah.
Love the production design, love the story, and love the triumphant message of the King's Speech in the end. So,
Yeah.
all in all, who's to say which one is better? They were neck and neck at all the awards ceremonies for who's winning what. Well, you know what? It's a tie for me.
Okay. All right. So is that tie 9 and 10, or is that just tied at 10 and you have
Tied at 10.
tied at 10? Got you.
Tied at 10. There's 9 other movies that I like better than those movies.
So I got to say I have both of those movies on my list, but
Ooh.
not in that spot. So we're going to come
Ooh.
back to that in a little
Ooh.
bit. But my number 10, again, I told you before we kind of got started, I'm probably going to be quite a bit off as far as some of the movies that I have on here. My number 10 was a movie I did not see coming. It's not a movie that I normally would enjoy. It's not a type of movie that's really my style or anything else, but it came out of nowhere for me, and I thought it was amazing, and that would be the movie Easy A. Easy A, which is Emma Stone, and
Yes.
just the dynamics, and I can't even like explain it was just, again, I just did not see it coming, and she did such a phenomenal job in that movie. She really won me over in that movie in general, but the writing is very good as well. The dynamics with everybody and the Scarlet Letter and the whole bit, and just I really, really enjoyed her in that movie specifically, and I thought it was very well done. Thomas Hayden Church's character in there, and how he just ended up being, or not him, his wife in the movie, who was played by Lisa Kudrow, ended up just being a real rotten person, and just, it's like, so many, like, and then before she went super crazy, what's her name is in it as well, Tara Reid? Amanda Bynes. Yeah, I always say Amanda Bynes. Yeah. So
as the religious chick.
Yes, dude.
God will judge you.
Yes. So that would be my number 10, man. Is Easy A. Like I said, it was a movie for me that I did not see coming, and when I was going through, because like when I first started like compiling the list of 2010 movies, I had a long list, and I had to kind of weed them out, and I was like, I can't get rid of this one, man. I really enjoyed it. So Easy A comes in at number 10 for me. So.
Absolutely agreeable. It was close. It's like number 12 on my list.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you there.
Well, awesome. I'm glad because I'm sitting here like I said, I have a couple on here where I'm like, man, I feel like these are going to be way off. So, but all right. So your number 9. Where do you go? Number 9.
So this is it's a movie that nobody saw. It's called The American with George Clooney.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, Reviews, it didn't really get the best reviews, didn't
Mm-mm.
make really any money at the box office. Me personally, I love that movie for the slow burn, atmospheric thriller that it is. You got George Clooney, who's playing an American hitman on one last job in Italy. And I think it's in his repertoire performances. I mean, George Clooney is a relatively showy performer when you look at his comedies like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and
Mm-hmm.
movies like Michael Clayton or Up in the Air, where he's got these really like powerful impassioned scenes. The
Yeah.
American is like his subtle acting without words movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the atmosphere of that movie, and I really have always encouraged people to seek it out, give it a shot. I mean, it's maybe 100 minutes long, so it's not super long.
Yes.
um I mean, I don't know. It was one of those movies I saw it. I was like, wow, I'm surprised that that's not getting better reviews. That Anton Corbin, who directed it, he came from music videos.
Mm-hmm.
So visually, the movie's very dynamic. It's very put together. And yeah, just I love the existential nature of George Clooney's character, the slow burn of the assassination plot that's taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, loved it, loved it, loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I did not have it in my top 10. I honestly,
No,
I
most people don't.
yeah, and like you said, like as we were kind of researching this, I just kind of glossed over that one. But I do remember seeing it, and I thought it was a very good movie, and I kind of agree. A more subtle performance from Clooney compared to some of his others, but it was good. I think I've only seen it once though, so like,
Yeah, right,
it's not
right.
one that's stuck with me. All right,
What do
so
you got for number 9?
number 9. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Scott Pilgrim
Yeah.
versus the World. This is a movie that was based obviously off the comic books, which I had I had no reference point there.
Yeah,
I didn't
me neither.
read Scott
Me
Pilgrim
neither.
comics or anything else. But when I saw this movie, just the way they brought that to life, it truly was a comic book movie. Like in the
Yes.
sense, it almost felt like they peeled it off the comic book page and stuck it onto the screen. And it just, I don't think we've seen a movie before it or since that gave you that kind of comic book feel. It really was like,
Yeah, yeah,
in my opinion anyway,
yeah.
just it's so unique in what it is. And so many cameos, which is so cool.
Yes.
So many
Yes,
amazing cameos. Yeah,
the
you get
vegan police or
yep.
whatever with
The
Thomas Jane and
Yep, the vegan police, and then you had the guy who played the Punisher. I forget his name right there. Or was he? No, he was the vegan
that
police.
was the vegan police.
Yeah, but
Tom Jane.
and yeah, and then it was the guy who played Superman. Why am I just? I'm just
Brandon Routh.
Yes, Brandon Routh. Yes,
Yeah.
from Superman Returns. Yes. So his cameo was great, and just the dynamic I think between your main character Scott Pilgrim and what was the girl's name in the movie?
Ramona Flowers.
Yes. And their dynamic I thought was amazing as well. Yep. And I loved how he had to face off against all the old boyfriends, which again, I don't know if that's a big staple in the comic or if that's just like a story arc they put in the movie itself, but I thought it was very unique and cool how they did it. And just again, when he defeats them, they turn into coins, like all the cool little thing, great special effects, great writing. And again, like I feel like it was just a movie, especially with how big comic book movies are nowadays, a movie that literally felt like they just peeled it right off the pages and plastered it on the screen as was. And it had that feel to me. And so I really remember that and enjoyed that movie for what it was. So for me, that would be my number 9 movie of choice. 2010. So
yeah, great choice. Great movie.
All right. Number 8. What do you got?
I got The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, it's such a good movie, and honestly, it just missed my list. But it's a very good movie.
So that's like Scott Pilgrim and Easy 8. They just missed it. Just missed it.
Yep.
But The Fighter. I mean, The Fighter. It's just a classic kind of boxing story, but the way it's done is really the treat of the movie. Where David O. Russell took that movie and ran with it, and he made it unique in his own right. And then you just had Christian Bale with a, forgive the pun, a knockout performance.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And that was him as the, the crack addict brother.
Mm-hmm.
It's seriously one of the best performances of that guy's career, one of the best
Yeah.
supporting performances in the last 10 years. And Melissa Leo as the crazy mother, my God, she was on point. So just and then Mark Wahlberg, and once again, actually another more of a reserved performance for what he's normally known for. But I appreciate the way he kind of took a backseat to it. And even though he's the main character, he let all the supporting characters kind of shine in their own right, like Amy Adams as the girlfriend, and then the Melissa Leo as the mother, Christian Bale. Even the guy that played his stepfather, who's just he's been a character actor for 20 years. I can't even remember his name, but like he had even like a great scene where he's ripping Christian Bale off the fence and he's snapping at him. I was like, yeah, everyone in this movie is just on point. The movie, it flowed so well. It was such a good story. And I love watching it.
I gotta agree. In the performances were just amazing, and again, Christian Bale just transforms himself. He literally molds himself into a character every time, and that's what I remember the most from that movie is him. He just I think he's a chameleon. He's a chameleon actor, and it's really good. So I like it, man. That's a good one. All right, number 8 for me is a little horror movie that I did not see coming. It's the only horror movie that I have on my list, but it's my favorite horror movie that's come out in the last probably 15 years, and that is Insidious. And I can still remember seeing this movie opening night, and I was sitting in a packed theater, and I was actually working at a movie theater at the time, and sitting in the packed theater and just watching everybody freak out. And all I kept thinking the entire time I'm watching this movie is, this is a throwback to old horror. And everything from the music, the cinematography, the costume design, the way they did everything in that movie, I just felt like it brought me back to old horror pictures, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second of that movie. And it's funny because like they don't have the big names, it's not the flashy stars. I think the budget was really low on that movie. I don't remember what it was.
It was $1.5 million, I think.
$1.5 million. I mean, that's nothing. And
that's nothing.
And I don't remember what that movie ended up making box office wise, but I know that they obviously killed their budget and then some. So, when you make a movie for 1.5 and then, crush it, comparatively anyway. So, but I just remember sitting in that theater opening night watching everybody's reactions, and that's what you want in a horror movie, just seeing like, people freaking out. But it wasn't because like, the paranormals were all the rage at that time, but it was not that. It went back to that old school horror feel, and it really brought me right back to kind of like when I was a kid in some of those horror movies. So for me, Insidious comes in at number 8. I really hold that movie in high regard, and I know that's probably not going to be on most people's top 10 list, but I love that movie.
It's a phenomenal horror, absolutely phenomenal horror. Even to say like the jump scares in that movie, I love horror movies, as you know.
Oh yes.
And like jump scares to me are one of those things where it's like you always just kind of, whatever, they're there. They never get me. Insidious is one of the only movies that I've seen in recent memory that actually got me with its jump scares.
I think in my opinion, part of the reason with that is because it wasn't reliant on them. They had a great mix of different types of scare tactics, whereas like a paranormal, it's all, when's the next jump scare coming? Versus that was a mental mind fuck, that movie, and it was great. I just loved it. But yes, I agree. Like you didn't see the jump scares coming, which is the best part. So
which makes it a jump scare.
Yeah, I guess technically that's right, but you know what I mean.
But that's the thing. Where it's like everyone knows when a jump scare is going to come. So what's the point of the jump scare?
Yeah.
Like they open the mirror to get something out of the medicine cabinet and close the mirror. And come on. Like we all know it's going to happen.
A lot of
not with
movies,
Insidious.
yeah, especially the paranormal movies, they try to throw you off and they don't have the jump scare when you think it's coming. But like Insidious was just on another level. It just combined every aspect that I enjoy in horror and threw it all into one pot, and I loved it. So anyway, that was my number 8. So
Boom.
boom,
Number 7.
number 7. All right, what do you got for number 7?
Tron Legacy.
Oh, dude.
Uh-oh, did you forget?
Why did I not see that on the list of movies? Oh no. Oh shit. Dude, proceed. I'm with you. I just don't even know where I would put it on my list. So it's not
Tron
on there, but
Legacy.
yeah, I did forget Tron Legacy. Oh man.
And
now I
even
feel like a jackass.
in retrospect,
All
so
right.
when I first saw Tron Legacy, I was extremely excited to see Tron Legacy. I love the original Tron. Felt slightly disappointed when I first saw it, but once again, this is 10 years later in retrospect. Right now, I've seen Tron Legacy a couple times. I've listened to the soundtrack to that movie at least 100 times. Just absolutely, I mean, I don't know why Daft Punk doesn't do more film scores.
Agreed, dude.
I mean,
oh my god, yeah, that was one of the best soundtracks for a movie ever, in my opinion.
yes,
Just
yeah,
flat
it's just
out. Yeah.
everything. You look at the whole soundtrack. I've listened to that soundtrack. It's great driving music. It's great cooking music. It's great thinking music. It's great, like, just to chill. Like, I played the soundtrack for an intermission for a show once. Like, it's just you can use the music for anything. I love the music. But even back to the movie itself now, you're looking at a movie that this was one of the first attempts to de-age a star.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, now we got all these examples of The Irishman, which just came out, or like in Rogue One, where they had the Princess Leia cameo at the end.
Yep.
Or, whatever de-aging you want to throw out there.
All the Marvel movies.
A lot of Marvel
throws
movies.
that out there a lot, yeah.
But you can trace it back to Tron Legacy, because that was the first time they took Jeff Bridges and put young Jeff Bridges as the villain.
Yep. Yeah. Dude, I can still remember seeing that. I was blown away by that, and I mean, I know the de-aging now has gotten a lot better, but like, dude, that it still holds up though. I mean, I just saw that movie last month. Like, it still holds up. It's amazing, and Jeff Bridges is amazing in it, and it's a shame it didn't do as well, because I would have liked to see another one, and I don't.
The third.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, because it just didn't perform, unfortunately, and I don't know why, because I thought it was great. I don't see what everybody else is missing. So I'm with you, and now I feel stupid that now I'm one of those people that didn't give it its due. I didn't even put it on my list.
No.
Dude,
it's the other thing with, like, look at the production design, the visual effects, the costume design, everything in that movie. It was so nicely done, and just like it was throwback enough to the original Tron, where you could say, okay, this is a really cool kind of retro sci-fi thriller, but it was still up to date enough to where someone who was, if you were 20 years old, 15, 20 years old, you're still watching it and you're not thinking, oh, this is stupid, it's like some old sci-fi movie. No, this is an up to date, very beautifully rendered sci-fi movie, visually amazing, and then kind of represents, we've talked a little bit about Joseph Kosinski recently. I mean, that was Disney pulled this guy. This guy actually, he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, by the way, or he was born in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And then he has a degree in architecture. Never went to film school.
All right.
He didn't like the mundane architecture life and decided to start doing computer generated commercials, won a couple awards, and Disney's like, hey, how about we give you $175 million and you make the next Tron movie? And like, I mean, who's going to say no to that?
Dude, I would go learn. Yeah. Yes, please. I'll take it. Disney, if you're watching, I'm in. So yeah, both of us. We're both in.
Tron 3.
Yeah, Tron 3. We're good. We got this. Dude. Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. I'm actually going to say something that's probably heresy. I actually prefer it to 1. I prefer Tron Legacy to Tron 1. It's
a little more watchable. It really
Yeah,
is.
it is. Because I again, like I said, I watched both of them about a month ago, and I watched them back to back, and
Yeah.
it kind of cemented what I always thought but never wanted to say because I didn't want somebody to be like, "What?" But yeah, I prefer it to one. I think it's a better movie in my opinion, but
Yeah.
subjective and whatever. But yeah,
Well, you look at Steve, what's his name? Steven Lissenberger or something, the guy that directed the original Tron.
hmm
He did what he did with the money he had at the time.
Well, I mean, he was
And,
obviously.
you know,
I'm not talking graphics wise. I mean, there's no contest because you just
yeah, but even
yeah,
with pacing wise,
yeah,
music wise,
yeah,
story wise, it's
yeah,
all like they took so many elements of what Tron was and made, I mean, like Tron Legacy. This is the legacy of the original movie. Here's
mm,
what it would be like if it were a $175 million feature film today.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that makes sense. And if you look at
Yeah.
it like that, yeah, then I guess that you're right. I think they probably did more with less in the first one than they did with the second. But I just as a movie as a whole, I prefer the second.
The
one.
movie is all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I agree. I'd watch Tron Legacy more than the original Tron.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that was number 7, right?
Yes.
So my number 7 coming in is Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass comes in at number 7
Yeah.
for me, and this is a movie that hooked me from the very first trailer. And the very first trailer is the scene where they're testing the bulletproof vest. That's all they did.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
just played that scene. That was it.
Yep.
And I saw that, and he shot her, and I'm like, I have to see this movie. This looks amazing. And it did not disappoint. And it launched the
No.
career of Chloe Moretz, and
Yep.
it is, in my opinion, one of the greatest roles Nicolas Cage has ever played. And
Yep.
he
Absolutely.
nailed that movie. And
Yeah.
it's funny because for me, that movie is it's about Kick-Ass, right? But honestly, those two characters, Big Daddy and Hit Girl, steal that movie. It's really
Oh,
not that much about
Yeah.
Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is kind of the secondary character, and in my opinion, it's all about Big Daddy and Hit Girl. And I just was,
Especially Hit Girl.
oh yeah, and I was
Especially Hit Girl.
just blown away. It was
Yeah.
everything I could have ever wanted to see from a superhero movie and more, and what paved the way for things like Deadpool and some of the other R-rated features we got later.
Yeah.
Those probably don't happen without
Yeah.
Kick-Ass. So Kick-Ass would come in as my number 7.
Kick-Ass.
Yeah,
Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass.
It is a kick-ass film.
Yes,
It's
it
a
is.
total, awesome film.
Dude,
Well,
just to add one more thing, do you know the director of that one?
Matthew Vaughn.
Yes, Matt Vaughn. Okay.
Yeah.
The two scenes, obviously the one that I talked about where he shoots her in the chest, testing the bulletproof vest. And then the other one is when they got her pinned down in the hallway and she's sitting there with the
Yep.
guns like this. And they start playing, it's a variant, like kind of background tune to Kryptonite from Three Doors Down. It's just like it's like that initial little riff, and they just play it over, and then it kind of builds into and that scene then when they go into Bad Reputation and she just starts slaughtering everybody is one of the coolest. Dude, when she pops the clips and throws them up and slides them in, like I was just like, oh man, I'm done. That is one of the best scenes I have ever seen. So yeah. So I just had to add that
stole
one.
that movie too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stole the movie, like you said. It's about Kick-Ass, but I mean, the only things that when someone says Kick-Ass, the two things I think of are Hit Girl.
Yeah.
The two scenes with Hit Girl, like the scene where she's trying to save Big Daddy when he's being burned alive.
Oh yeah, dude, that's another great scene. Yeah. Dude, awesome.
But and then you got Matthew Vaughn. That was kind of, I mean, he went on to do The Kingsman.
Yes. Yep. Which
I mean, it's more the same ridiculous.
Yes,
the same ridiculousness. So
yes,
just
it is.
keep bringing it on. Keep bringing it on.
Coming soon, The King's Man.
The King's Man.
Yeah. Yeah, which I actually am kind of interested in. So
yeah. I like Ray Fiennes, and it's a prequel. So
yeah. Yep.
I think, is it World War I or World War II?
One. I want to say it's one. We'll have to double check that. Not
Yeah, I can't
100%
remember.
sure, but I'm pretty sure
What?
it's yeah. But yes, I do love Ray Fiennes. Actually, Ray Fiennes is one of my top overrated actors of all time, but that's a different list we can do on a
Ooh,
different
top
day.
overrated actors,
Or
huh?
underrated. Sorry, underrated. I
Underrated,
meant underrated.
underrated.
Yeah,
I
top
was gonna
underrated
say,
actor. Yeah, no, Ray
yes,
Fiennes
yeah.
should have many more Academy Awards than he does. So,
Yeah, zero.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, number six. Where are you at?
Number 6 for 2010, Unstoppable, with Denzel Washington and Chris Pine.
Okay,
Yes,
that's a good
it
movie.
is. I don't want to say that it's bar none Tony Scott's best film ever, but it's definitely up there. And especially looking at Tony Scott's career up until that point. Actually, and that was actually Tony Scott's last film before he committed suicide. Um,
Really? Oh wow.
yes. So you have, I think the year before that, he did Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3. He did Deja Vu,
Mm-hmm.
Domino, Man on Fire. He kind of had
Oh, I
this.
love Man on Fire.
I love Man on Fire too. I love Tony Scott films in general. Like Domino got totally shit on. I love Domino. That's such a cool movie.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley and Mickey Rourke. It's
Yeah.
just such a cool movie.
Yeah.
Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 was a good movie
I like
for,
that one too.
having John Travolta as the bad guy and
Mm-hmm.
Denzel as the train traffic controller or whatever. But
Yep. Yep.
but Unstoppable is it absolutely gripped me from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The cinematography is it's the kind of that shaky acid trip stuff that Tony Scott does, but it's a little more reserved. And
Yeah.
that's what I like about it, where you look at like Deja Vu and Domino and Man on Fire, and it's like this, what's this? And
Yeah.
finally, like Unstoppable tuned it in just a little bit, kind of honed it a little bit. And then between like the sound mixing, the sound effects, which
Mhm.
is, I mean, if you ever listen to that movie in surround sound, it's just like, oh, it's coming everywhere. They did such a great job mixing that film.
Yeah.
Just the brisk pace of it.
Mhm.
It's paced perfectly for what it is, for the story that it's telling. It's like a nice 90 some minutes long, so it's not overly long. You get just enough character development to say, okay, these guys got to go save the day. And then, I mean, to call it, like, in my opinion, the most triumphant movie of the year, when they, in the end, spoiler alert, when they stop the unstoppable train and Denzel is just on the freaking car, just like, whoa, like riding the train. They're riding the train. They're riding the freaking train into the yard or whatever. And he's just like, whoa. I was just like in the theater. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Dude,
was the shit.
I think I
I love Unstoppable.
I think I saw that movie like 5 times that year.
Yeah.
No, I mean, granted, I worked at a theater, so it made it a little easier. But I think I saw that movie like 5 times. It was just so, like you said, just like kind of that triumphant thing. And some of the like things they were trying to do to stop the train, I thought were really cool. Like, there's the scene where they line up the sniper and he's trying to shoot the button. There's a lot of like cool stuff, and just like I don't know. I agree with you. It is a really good movie. I didn't have it in my top 10, but yeah, another one that, dude, what a good year for movies. But yeah, another one that I agree, man.
Yeah.
A nonstop thrill ride grips you from go and holds you the whole time.
Unstoppable thrill ride.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, movies like that are great. The most recent movie I saw that's similar to that, where it grips you from start and it goes all the way through, is 1917. Like literally catches you and holds you the whole time, and it's just it's amazing. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Getting off track again. All right.
Number 6.
Number 6 for me. Please don't laugh. Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3.
I'll give it to you.
And
I have never seen it.
Really? Okay.
I own it. I've never seen it.
Well, I mean, you've obviously seen Toy Story, right? You've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the best of all the Toy Story movies, in my opinion, and it's very rare. I mean, they made a 4th one, and the 4th one's good and it's fine, but this, in the trilogy this was supposed to be the last one, and very rarely in a trilogy does a studio just knock it out of the park and tie it all up in a nice pretty bow. and it's the kind of movie that makes grown men cry. It is like literally
So I've
like
heard.
gut wrenching, like, and the ending is just phenomenal. And you know, the actors are great. It's Tom Hanks, it's Tim Allen, it's you know, like, and they do a phenomenal job. And you know, I toiled on whether I should even put this on the list, but I gotta tell you, man,
You're right. You're correct.
when
I've never seen it. But
yeah, when I saw the movie, it was just like, this is an animated movie, and I'm like almost sobbing. Like, I mean, this is so. Yeah, so that's my number 6, man. Toy Story
absolutely
3. So,
loud and proud.
Yeah,
to it.
Yeah, I'll own it, man. Yep. All right. Well, on that happy note,
there we go. On
number
that happy note, I'll talk about something depressing. Number 5.
All right, what do you got?
Black Swan.
Dude, I don't have it on my list, but it's another great fucking movie. Oh my god! All right, yes, go Black Swan. Black Swan.
Black Swan. I love Darren Aronofsky. He's a phenomenal director. My favorite Darren Aronofsky film is The Fountain, which I think is generally considered his like worst reviewed movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Fountain, but Black Swan probably is my 3rd favorite movie of his, but they're all great. I think he's a great director. Every movie he does is great.
Yeah.
Even Mother which was very controversial with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie. But Black Swan, little slow on the start. And once again, kind of one of those movies where I was like really, really excited to see it. And then it was like, okay, I'm not the most into this. Oh, okay, that happened. Oh, okay, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that happened.
Oh, that scene.
And then it's like whole by the end of the movie, you're just like, wow. I left that movie. I was like, holy shit, I cannot wait to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
Like just the obsession that Natalie Portman portrays.
Mm-hmm.
And Natalie Portman I love her as an actress. Absolutely love her as an actress. We're not going to get into political stuff because we don't like doing that.
Nope, no politics. We're going to avoid that. Yeah.
No. Nope. But just the final scene, like when she's dying on the stage, it's just like, oh, they're clapping for me. It's like, it's like, yeah.
So
okay.
I got, dude, yes, Natalie Portman in that movie kills it. And until that movie, honestly, me personally, I wasn't the biggest Natalie Portman fan as an actress.
No?
She never really like, you know, whatever. And then I saw her in that movie and I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
and
she's
then
got the chops.
Yeah. And she killed it. And what was it? Mila Kunis, right? Is she?
Yeah. Mila Kunis is the Black Swan.
And that Mila Kunis, I thought was her kind of coming out party a little bit. You know, I felt like she had done other movies and she had done other shows, but nothing to that level, in my opinion. I don't know.
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, watching. We just in our lockdown quarantine, we just watched all of that 70s show. So it's just funny to watch her. And I guess so. My wife told me she lied. Mila Kunis lied about her age or something to get the role in that 70s show.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
they were like trying to cast like a 17, 18-year-old, and she was 14 at the time when they first started filming or something like that. I don't know, but
wow.
I didn't look into it really.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
But just to like watch her in that movie, to then watch her in Black Swan, where it's like, okay, you're actually an actress. You're not just Jackie from that 70s show.
Yep.
And that was really cool to see. But even the cinematography of that movie is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And just, I love the parallel shots that are in that film.
Yeah.
It's just,
dude,
absolutely astounding.
I totally agree, man. It's a phenomenal film. Oh, I actually have a Black Swan story. Gonna sidetrack, but it's worth it. All right. So at the time, like I said, I was working at a movie theater, and there was this employee there who would always disappear. We couldn't find him, and it was like, where'd he go? Where'd this guy go? Well, there's a scene in Black Swan, and do you know the scene I'm talking about?
There's a very memorable scene.
There's a very memorable scene where a couple of girls do some stuff.
Yeah.
And
Some famous A-listers that you think would never do a scene like that, but they did.
exactly. And that's where this dude kept disappearing to. He would time it out and go watch the scene over and over and over again. We finally found him. Like, dude, it was so hilarious, man. But anyway, that's my little Black Swan story. So,
doesn't surprise me,
dude. Yeah, but yes, great movie. Awesome pick, man, for the list, dude. That's great.
Yeah.
And again, I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't have that one on the list now. Too. See, it was so much. I was trying to have variety, you know.
Right.
So we're on what, number 5, right?
Number 5.
Number 5. My number 5 is Shutter Island.
Mm-hmm.
Shutter Island.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people don't like this movie.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
It is controversial, but I thought it was phenomenal. And this is Leo in his prime. This is, he and he had a great 2010, by the way. And I'm sure I have a strange feeling we're gonna get to some more of his work.
We will
in a little bit.
I think we will.
Dude, that movie I thought was just a mind trip. I loved the writing, the cinematography, the acting. Dude, it just, the whole movie as a whole is great. I don't get the hate. I really don't. I don't understand the hate. Maybe it's because people don't understand it. It didn't seem that,
It's pretty.
Yeah,
I mean, it's slow enough to where you can keep up, and kind of like by the ending, even if you're kind of like, well, okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, why not? Like you look at every piece of the puzzle to that movie, and it lines up perfectly.
Yeah.
And I mean, now you got. I think the big thing was that it got pushed back. It was originally supposed to be a 2009 October Oscar contender type movie.
Yeah.
So then Paramount pushed it to February of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of viewed as like, oh, maybe it's not going to be as good as it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because it was originally kind of supposed to, like, Martin Scorsese had just won Best Director for The Departed.
Yeah.
So this was his next film after he was finally an Oscar-winning director.
Yes.
So everyone was like, "Oh, is he gonna repeat? Is he gonna win Best Director again for Shutter Island?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Paramount pushed it, so everyone was kind of like, "Oh, maybe it's not that good." And then I think that kind of followed into the movie. I saw it opening day, was absolutely just blown away by it. Loved, like you said, the cinematography is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The production design is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
If you read about the production design for that movie and how they actually went to some of the Boston Harbor Islands and used some of the abandoned buildings on the Boston Harbor Islands.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I love the production design of that movie. The sound mixing, the soundtrack. So the movie does not have an original score. It's all music that's from the 40s and classical 18. Yeah. So there's no original score for the movie. It was just a put together soundtrack.
I never even thought of that until you brought it up.
Yeah. So it's like absolutely genius in my opinion. I'm like, wow, you just like everyone put together these very ominous pieces of classical music that just happen to fit the bill of this movie.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that's like that classic Shutter Island score, which it's not the score for Shutter Island. It's just a piece of music, but that like that foghorn, when they kind of first come into it, it's like that boom, boom, boom. It's like, I love that sound. I love the music. And then, DiCaprio just going nuts with the role, and Mark Ruffalo in a great supporting role. Ben Kingsley in a great supporting role.
Well, Ben Kingsley's amazing in everything he does.
Yeah. But then you had even like, you had a ton of character actors just showing up for scenes here and there. Like you had Ted Levine, the guy that played Buffalo Bill. He shows up to play the crazy prison guard or whatever. He gives that crazy little speech like, if I sink my teeth into your eye, could your violence overcome my violence before you go blind? And it's just like, what the where did that come from?
Dude,
okay, I'll buy it. Yeah.
I feel like there were a lot of what the
yeah. And then another part of that movie where it's like, I'm a big Martin Scorsese fan. Go figure.
What?
But what? No, me. that movie, in my opinion, is almost like it. I think it's Martin Scorsese's most fun movie, where Paramount was totally comfortable just giving him, $80 million or whatever the budget was for the movie. I think it was 80-ish million dollars.
Yeah.
And they said, here you go, have fun, make a throwback, creaky, haunted house type thriller.
Yeah.
And Scorsese just said, oh, my pleasure, and just went and did it.
I think Paramount would love for him to ask for only $80 million now.
These days, yeah.
I think he asked for what was it, like $250 million for his next film, and they basically were like, yeah, you could find somebody else. And
now he's going back to Netflix.
Apple, I thought. Was it Netflix or Apple? I thought it was Apple.
Oh, maybe it's Apple.
Yeah, but Paramount's gonna finance part. From last I heard, but anyway, yeah. But yeah, so that would be yes, that was my number 5, Shutter Island. So we let's go on to number 4, man. What do you got for number 4?
127 hours.
Nice. I really thought about that one, but I also did not put that one on the list as well. Yeah. It's so crazy. Like I said, that year was a really good year, man. All right, so 127 hours. Go. What do you?
Well, here's James Franco kind of doing something a little different than Freaks and Geeks, a little something than Harry Osborn. It's Pineapple Express. I think represented a good jumping point in James Franco's career, where it was like, okay, he actually can play a really funny stoner character. He actually does have some acting chops. 127 Hours was just kind of the like, oh yeah, this guy can act. Okay, let's take him a little more seriously.
Oh yeah.
And now, like, whatever you want to say about him now, certain revelations came out about him, and he was like, oh, I was at NYU and UCLA, same master's degrees, while filming and directing independent feature films. And it's like, all right, James Franco, you're sounding a little bit like a pretentious douche now. But you know what? I still love watching you. So
yeah,
127 Hours was his big breakthrough there. Stylistically, Danny Boyle was now once again won an Oscar in 2008 for Slumdog Millionaire. So here's Danny Boyle's follow-up to his Oscar-winning, Best Director career. 127 Hours was so well put together, so well paced, had really nifty little bits of cinematography in it, like they had the camera that went inside the tube when the scene where he's like drinking his urine, and you see like the urine come up the tube, and I was like, wow, that's a really nifty little detail. But like when they did like a shot from the canyon, and then went across the whole canyon to his Jeep, and then like zoomed in on like the condensation on a Gatorade bottle, and I was like, all right, cool. And that it was shot by Enrique Chadiak, I think was the cinematographer, and he's a very underrated cinematographer, where it's like, I don't understand why this guy doesn't get more work, but he does really, really good work. He was a cinematographer on Deepwater Horizon, which was just a phenomenally put together film as well.
Yeah.
So, 127 Hours, good music, good score, a great story about redemption. And I mean, once again, to say, all right, this is a movie with one guy in it who's stuck in a canyon for 5 days. And we all know that he cuts his arm off at the end. So what are we here to watch?
Yep.
But just his fantasies, his path to redemption, his path to spiritual redemption in the movie is so good. And then when he finally gets out and he's just, once again, very triumphant, just walking through this canyon, he's doesn't have his arm anymore, and he's drinking the water. And then you get all the people running like, oh, here's water. Oh gosh. And that was all set to a Sigur Rós song. In America, most people just say Sigur Rós. It's really pronounced Sigur Rós. Okay. They're an Icelandic alternative progressive band, and I love their work. And so when that song pops up, it's called Festival. It's an awesome song, and just a really awesome cap to that movie of like, oh, okay, that was a good triumphant. Now here he goes. He's ready to take that next step in his life, and be a better son, be a better. Looking for. I think after this is when he met his wife. So it's just really life affirming in the end.
I gotta say, I think you hit the nail right on the head when you were talking about if anytime you can take a movie where A, everybody knows the ending, and B, it's a guy stuck in a canyon, and you can make it very interesting for what is an hour and a half, 2 hours, or whatever.
Yeah, it's just about
Yeah,
hour and a little over hour and a half.
yeah. I mean, anytime you can do that, you're doing something
Mhm.
right. And I
Yeah,
agree. I think James Franco's performance is amazing. I actually like Franco as an actor. He did
I like
that.
him as an actor.
He after Spider-Man, he did that Navy movie.
Annapolis.
Yes. I actually thought he was pretty good in that. I don't know about the
He
movie
was
itself.
good in the movie. No, the movie
He
itself is
good.
not very good.
And that was him doing the serious role, and I felt like his
Yeah.
performance, given what he was
Yeah.
given, was good.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I felt like he had the chops then, but he just wasn't quite given the right material to work with.
Oh,
You know?
I forgot. What about Flyboys? The
Yeah.
World War One.
There you go. Yeah, Flyboys. Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
the World War One fighter pilot movie.
that, and then another movie he did, the one with Selena Gomez, where he plays kind of the strung out drug dealer guy.
Spring Breakers.
Yes, yeah, and I thought he
yeah,
was really good in that too.
That's actually that's one of his career. That's another one of his career best performances.
Yes,
Spring
yes. So,
Breakers.
but yeah, I agree, man. 127 hours. I thought his performance was great. I will defer to you on the cinematography stuff because those are the details I don't even notice usually.
Yeah, it's
So
just-
I'm more the casual guy, like, oh, but now that you mention it, like when you bring it up, dude, that is totally. I do remember that scene with the straw and and like, dude, that's so cool, man. Like, and so yeah, I
It
agree
just
with you.
integrated really well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's tough. Those like shots like that are really gimmicky shots, which
Mhm.
normally, I mean, I don't like gimmicky things. I don't like gimmicky shots. But if you can integrate them into the movie where they don't feel like a gimmick,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they did in that movie. Where I was like, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, well,
I'm buying it.
It added to the movie instead of distracting
yeah,
from it. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. All right. So that was what number 4, right?
4.
Yep.
Number
So
4.
my number 4 is a remake. It was a remake
Mm.
that came out this year, and that is True Grit. True Grit, and
I knew you were gonna put it on the list somewhere.
yeah, I had to. It has
Yeah,
my
it's
guy
Jeff
in it. It
Bridges.
has
It's
Jeff
Jeff
Bridges.
Bridges.
I love, but then I missed Tron. Go figure. But that movie, it's long. I mean, let's start with that. It's a long movie. So I went into it going, okay, this is a Western remake. I don't know. I can give or take Westerns usually, with the exception of a couple, but I can give or take them either way. That movie had me again from the start to the finish. I thought his performance as Rooster Cogburn was amazing. He was awesome. The girl in the movie, amazing.
Haley Steinfeld.
Yes. Haley
At
Steinfeld.
14 years old.
At 14,
14
yep.
years old when she filmed that movie.
Yep. Amazing.
And like
she was
to hold your own with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And to hold your own against Matt Damon and Josh Brolin in the end. You know, like,
yes.
She was she was a firecracker.
Yes.
It was a great performance.
And Josh Brolin was great, and like you said, Matt Damon, so awesome. Like I don't really know what else to say other than like I just truly enjoyed the movie. I thought their performances were amazing. It was written well. It was done well. There's not really a whole lot to say. I don't have to go into the nuances of it because I just thought it was a really good movie, and it just held my attention. And you know, that's what I go to see and have a good time with it. And I felt like that was a good movie. Held my attention really well. You know, anytime a movie can hold you like that, and you know you're entertained and you're sucked into the story and you can enjoy the performances, and that's kind of what I remember. That just I love the interaction too between Matt Damon and Jeff Bridges. I thought that was great. They had a great chemistry together as well. So that's kind of what I remember the most about that movie is
great chemistry.
Haley Steinfeld's performance and the great chemistry between Matt Damon and Jeff Bridges. So
Well, on the screen, like you said, the screenplay, like it's just so. The nuances, you don't need to look at them in that particular movie where they affect you without knowing it because like the screenplay has such the good dialogue that was so kind of apparently of the time. Who's to say? But just like the little thing, you know, when they're interrogating him at the beginning, like, you know, how in your time as marshal, how many men have you shot? And he's like, shot or killed.
Yeah.
And like, well,
Yeah.
let us restrict the number to kill. And he's like, oh, about 12.
Yep.
It's just like,
And
or like, or when they're,
he's
yeah.
so point of fact in them. It's just
Mhm,
like, yeah,
mhm.
just about 12, like just
Yeah. Or
just
like, I love it when they're doing the shooting thing, and they're Matt Damon's like, I thought you was going to say the sun was in your eyes, or that is to say, your eye. And
yeah.
it's just, it just
Yeah. Yeah,
the
dude.
dialogue of that movie was so the chemistry, the dialogue, everything
Yeah.
it's a good movie. It's a
Yeah.
great movie for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, yeah. So that was my my number 4 right there. So that brings us to number 3.
Number 3, The Town.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also a movie I did not have on the list, but dude, an Affleck special, my friend, an Affleck special.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And really, looking at this is now Ben Affleck's second directorial movie where he did Gone Baby Gone, but he
Mhm.
wasn't in Gone Baby Gone. So he directed Gone Baby Gone and had his brother as the main character.
Yeah.
Now here's where Ben Affleck really becomes like producer, director, writer, and main star is
Yeah.
in The Town. And you look at Argo. Argo's a great film. I really like Argo, but The Town is that's in my opinion that is Ben Affleck's crowning achievement is The Town. It is a
Really?
great, oh yeah, it is a great crime thriller. Jeremy Renner as the crazy best friend
Yep.
is such a like I love
Oh.
Jeremy Renner and
I think
pretty much
that's
everything.
I was gonna say I think that's one of my favorite Jeremy Renner roles. Honestly,
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that may be the best role I've seen him in. To
Mhm.
be honest, I don't
Yeah,
know if I
yeah.
can think of a better one. So anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
Uh
Oh
oh.
no. It's like you said, it really is from all the supporting characters. You had Chris Cooper as Ben Affleck's father and his little one scene when Ben Affleck goes to visit him in prison. And it's such a good, powerful, like the classic, like, on the phone behind the glass and talking to each other about whatnot. Um, and even Ben Affleck as an actor, like, I mean, see what you will about him as an actor, but The Town is, once again, like, that's a good performance. That's a really good performance that he gets away with in that movie.
You know what? I gotta say, I've never understood all the Affleck hate. I really don't get it. I watch his movies. I enjoy his performances most of the time. I mean, we won't talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Geely, but like,
Yeah. Or
but
Pearl Harbor.
was that really his fault? I mean, if you think about it, is that
From an acting standpoint,
is that the writing or is that the acting? What he wasn't. Dude,
it's
that was your classic. Who did Pearl Harbor? Was it Michael Bay?
Yes, Michael Bay directed
I mean,
Pearl
come
Harbor.
on. Like
Yeah.
that says
But-
everything right there.
But it was written by Randall Wallace, who wrote Braveheart. So
Okay, well, yeah, maybe then direction. Maybe it's direct. I don't know if I blame
Yeah.
Affleck because I mean,
well, I think everyone's a little bit to blame, but just like the scene. I think Ben Affleck's one of his worst scenes ever as an actor is just when Kate Beckinsale's talking and he's just like, Evelyn, loving you kept me alive, and like throws the bag over his back and walks out, and I'm like, oh no.
oh
Okay.
man. See now again though, so like, is that how many takes of that do you think they did? Right? I mean, maybe they just took the wrong take. You know,
I'm sure Michael Bay was
Michael
just
Bay,
like, well,
one
nothing's
and done.
blowing.
We're good. Yeah.
Look, what? Nothing's exploding.
Yeah.
Let's just film it real quick and
Yeah,
move on.
exactly. I actually that's one of my guilty pleasures. I like Pearl Harbor.
I like Pearl Harbor too.
I
like
enjoy
Pearl
the
Harbor, too.
movie.
I'm very acknowledging of it's a bad movie, but I do like it.
Yeah.
But
Oh my god.
hold on. But back The Town. Gotta
Yeah.
get back
Sorry.
to The Town.
Yeah. Sorry. Back to
And
the
then
town. Yeah.
Just once again, if you haven't seen it, seek it out. It's one of the best crime thrillers. It's on par with Heat, in my opinion. I mean, the shootout.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
Okay, look at the shootout in Heat,
Uh-huh.
and then look at the shootout at the end of the town.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very much like that. Like you got these five heavily armed thieves
Mm-hmm.
going up against the Boston police SWAT team and
Okay.
everything else. And it's this
I
running gun battle through Charlestown. And you got the really loud, like AR sound effects where it's just, really echoing, like it's boom, boom, boom.
yeah, yeah.
It really, it's a shootout that when it starts, it's like, oh God, this is a very harrowing, realistic shootout.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
altogether,
You
the
know,
town.
I mean, I wouldn't have made that comparison, but yeah, now that you kind of bring it up, I definitely see it. Yeah, and Heat's one of my favorites. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
Heat's one of my favorites too.
dude, that movie's phenomenal. That's yeah. But anyway, 2010, we're on it. So, yeah, no, dude, I like it, man. The Town, and it was a really great movie. I agree, and yeah, good choice, man. All right, so that was number 3, correct?
Number 3.
All right, so my number 3 was a movie you've already mentioned, and that is The King's Speech. And I never would have thought. I literally watched that movie while I was working at the theater because I had about an hour and a half to kill, or 2 hours or whatever. Well, I think it's a 2 hour actually movie.
Yeah,
It's a pretty long
yeah.
movie. I had a couple hours to kill, and I was like, you know what? Oh, whatever. I'll just go watch King's Speech. And the performances in that movie are nothing short of stellar. Just
Yes.
stellar. And Jeffrey Ross is amazing as like the speech therapist guy. And
Yeah.
then the lead, what's his name?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth, thank you. Colin Firth's performance is just phenomenal. And then Helena Bonham Carter is in that movie as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she is really great in that movie as well.
She's really good. She's really good.
And
Guy Pearce is in it too.
yes, and Guy Pearce, yeah, which I
Yeah,
like Guy
yeah.
Pearce. He's always that
I love Guy Pearce.
dude. Every
I love
time
Guy
I see
Pearce.
him, I always enjoy his performance.
And
Even
he
in
always
Iron Man
just shows
3,
up
I
in a
was like,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
He just shows up. All right, cool.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, my favorite Guy Pearce performance, I think, is Count of Monte Cristo. But anyway,
Yes.
but I digress. So going back to King's Speech, I never thought I would watch a movie about royalty or a royal just trying to get his stutter under control and think that was interesting or that I would hold my attention. But not only did it, I really was
Yeah. Yeah.
enthralled by it. Like it was, and again, it's
Yeah.
the performances that really carry that movie, and it's an acting clinic, is what I call it, an acting
Yes.
clinic, and
Yep.
I can't deny it, and that's why I hold it in such high regard, because I feel like if you're gonna learn to act, that's one of the top movies you can pull out.
That's one of the movies to watch.
And
Yeah,
definitely,
absolutely.
so that's why I put it at number 3, and I know that's a very high spot, but I just feel like as far
It won Best Picture for the year, so
yeah, well, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's
that-
doing okay.
it won Best Picture in 2010. So
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I was thoroughly shocked at how much I enjoyed that movie, and I really just equate it to the performances, and just phenomenal across the board. So that's my number 3.
Yes.
So
All right, number 2.
all right, number 2, what do you got?
So number 2 movie you already mentioned. My number 2 movie of 2010 is Shutter Island,
Okay,
and
all
that's
right.
just once again going back to just what we already said. It's Martin Scorsese, unrestrained, having fun with a creaky Hitchcockian haunted house, haunted asylum thriller, whatever you want to call it. I mean, and it's not haunted. In the end, it's not haunted, but it plays like it is, kind of like this creaky ghost story going on. Like when Ben Kingsley, like it's like she evaporated straight through the walls. Like,
Yeah.
what happened? Yeah. But I just absolutely love Shutter Island. One of the things about that movie, I don't like going to the movies if I feel like shitty. And I remember I saw it opening day, and then I was, a couple weeks later, my brothers wanted to see it, and I was like, I'm not really in the mood to go to the movies today. I kind of had like a headache coming on. I was tired. I was like, I don't want to go to the movies and ruin Shutter Island,
Yeah.
And then they're like, come on, let's go. And I remember I was like, the second I sat down, I was just like, I'm in a great mood. I was feeling I was feeling so shitty, and now I'm like all giddy, like, ah, yes,
Oh,
Shutter Island, yes.
dude, that's
So
awesome.
I love Shutter. Absolutely love Shutter Island. Absolutely.
Dude, yeah, yeah. And I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but yeah, dude, you can't go wrong putting it that high. I mean, it was a great movie, and again, I still don't understand why a lot of people kind of poo-pooed on it because I thought it was really good, and I still think a lot of people just didn't quite understand it. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the big issue, but I thought it was great, and for all the reasons you mentioned. So yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. So all right. Boom. My number 2 is a movie you already mentioned. And that is The Social Network.
All right.
And when I first heard this movie was coming out, I'm like, really? A movie about Facebook? That's what we're gonna do? Is this what we've come down to? And you know, next thing you know, they're gonna make a movie about emojis. Oh wait, they did. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but so no, but for real though, that movie, it blew me away. It just blew me away. The performance is obviously the first part. Everything from even Justin Timberlake coming in as dude, his what is he on screen for? Maybe 15 minutes throughout the whole movie.
Altogether, yeah.
But that dinner scene specifically, when they're meeting up with Sean Parker and Andrew Garfield's character's freaking out because they're not Andrew Garfield, Andrew Garfield's character, Jesse Eisenberg's character, is freaking out because it's Sean Parker, and Andrew Garfield's like, dude, this guy is like totally taking over, and that scene is amazing. The dynamic between the three of them, I thought was really great. The dynamic between Garfield and Jesse Eisenberg, I thought was unbelievable. And
Andrew Garfield really stole it too.
He did. He was great in that movie. It probably is one of my favorite, if not my favorite role of his that he's ever done. I just love that role. My secret kind of love role in that movie are the Winklevi twins.
Armie Hammer.
Yes, Armie Hammer, who I didn't realize, and I should have known this, but I didn't realize that was one guy. I was like, oh shit, they found a couple of twins to play in this movie. I did not even realize that was one guy. He kills it in that movie. And dude, it just, the writing, just everything. It just another one of those movies where they just bring it all together. It's a perfect storm. And who would have thought a movie about Facebook would have been that entertaining and that thrilling, and they crushed it. I just it's again, I ranked it number 2.
Trent Reznor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
Trent Reznor coming into score. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Those are big,
dude,
big musical movie score debut.
And he crushed
great
it too,
soundtrack.
man. Yeah, it was a great soundtrack. I don't see a weakness in that film, and they just, it really is kind of a total package. But again, for me, it's the performances and the dialogue between and the dynamics between the actors, and I just thought they were phenomenal, and it sold me. So yeah, Social Network, that's my number 2 for 2010. And that brings us to number 1, and I have a feeling we both have the same number 1.
I have a pretty strong feeling that we do have the same number 1. So
well, you can start.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. Let's say 1, 2, 3.
Inception.
Yes.
Inception.
That so far, it's like my personal pinnacle of Christopher Nolan's career. Memento is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies of all time. Batman Begins is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Inception is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
Now, everything he's done since Inception, I mean, I love Interstellar, love The Dark Knight Rises, love Dunkirk, really excited for Tenet. But Inception is like my personal pinnacle for Christopher Nolan, where it's like you finally just, like, you took everything from The Dark Knight that you learned about blockbuster making
Mm-hmm.
And then you went back to kind of like your Memento roots when it comes to storytelling.
Yes.
And you just put this, you made this 2.5 hour epic of, I mean, when it comes to the production of the film, this globe-trotting epic where they were filming in Africa, they went to
Mm-hmm.
Canada to film, they were in Los Angeles, they were in France, they were in England. So I think they were in China in the beginning, or
Yep.
maybe Japan. I can't remember where it was exactly. Um, but it just, wow. A movie, I saw it 3 times. I saw it opening day, and the second I left the theater, and it's the top spinning and it cuts to black and the Hans Zimmer's score comes blasting in, and you're just like, oh. And I just remember we had to get gas after we left the movie theater, and I was like sitting at the gas pump just
Yeah.
like what I gotta go see that again. I gotta go see that again. And like I think I saw it 2 days later again.
Yep.
And I was like, I gotta go see it again. I gotta see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it a couple weeks later. And it's one of those movies, every time I watch it, I'm just like, I fucking love this movie so much. It is like it's a great example of an action movie. It's a great example of a sci-fi movie. It's a great example of a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
It's a great example of, that kind of, I don't want to say midlife crisis type movie, but just that character in crisis where DiCaprio's banished and all he wants to do is get back to his kids.
Yep.
It's that his personal journey to the redemption of finally getting to go home. It's just a phenomenal film, from the craftsmanship, from the special effects, because Christopher Nolan is very, very picky about doing things in camera, on set. So like when you watch the behind the scenes of the tilting hallway room with Joseph Gordon-Levitt fighting the guy and they're on wires and everything, it's like, that is just freaking cool that you built a rotating set in an airplane hangar.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, one of the things about the movie, Christopher Nolan wrote it back in the 90s, actually. And he originally wrote it as a quick, 80, 90-minute horror movie about dream thieves.
Huh.
And it was kind of meant to be inspired by, some of the latter Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
But the fact that he took that concept and was like, all right, you know what? Screw doing a 90-minute horror film. I'm going to do a 2.5-hour action epic. And everything about that movie, I'm never sick of it. I'm never going to be sick of it.
Yeah.
The Hans Zimmer's score, the visual effects, the sound effects, the cinematography is just phenomenal. Everything's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, is kind of Christopher Nolan's staple in the world of cinema.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. I fully agree with all of that. So I'm gonna start with my experience like you did. So my experience first seeing it, first time. I couldn't even get out of my seat. I sat there and thought about that movie. I saw it again the next day. And then I saw it again shortly after. And then I saw it. I think I saw the movie 6 times in the theater.
Nice.
Nolan is probably my favorite director right now. He builds movies like tapestry. It's like threads that intertwine and build a bigger picture, but you don't see it until it kind of ties in at the end. He has that way of it's so complicated but yet so simple, and especially when he ties it off at the end, it's like, how did I not see this? It's and that movie in particular, there are so many layers and so many and not just in the sense of the actual dreamscape layers, but the layers of the characters themselves. The characters are so multifaceted. The Leo's character, the main character, obviously, he's got a lot of different, layers and things that are going on with him. But also, what's her name? The Juno girl.
Ellen Page.
Ellen Page, yes. She's phenomenal in that movie. I think she really does a great job of kind of gluing everybody together in the sense, because you have, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Leo, they're doing a great job kind of feeding off each other, and I
Yeah,
love Tom Hardy, so
Oh yeah,
phenomenal. But
yeah.
I think that the Ellen Page character in that movie really kind of glues it all together, and her
Yeah.
kind of like, especially the scene where like she initially gets in his head, and then she's like, I don't want to be in there. We can't be in there. He's nuts, and walks away. And Leo just turns
Yeah.
to Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's like, she's gonna be back. She's taking it up this quick, and just again, like that's what Nolan does. He builds all the characters and fits them in with each other so well, and all those threads fit in so perfectly. And all he does is make masterpieces, and this is the pinnacle of that. He is.
Yep.
It just blows you away visually, story, acting, cinematography, and it is a clinic on everything you can do right to make a movie that is so multifaceted. Like you said, like you take a character like Leo's character who is just, he's breaking. He's still mourning his wife, and he hasn't even gotten to do that. He's lost his kids, and he hasn't even gotten to deal with that because he's just trying to do everything he needs to do to get back to his kids. And it's just, and that's just one. That's just one story.
That's one.
Within, and just and that's the magic.
Throwing.
Oh, go ahead.
Marion Cotillard is the dead wife.
Yeah. Oh my God. Phenomenal.
Every time she shows up, it's just like
and
a character who's meant to be. It's such a. I mean, like you said, everything is so layered. Like in theory, she's the villain of the movie.
Oh yeah.
But she's also the love of his life.
Yep.
So it's like, well, okay, how do we interpret that? And,
yep.
What it comes down to is just he hasn't been able to have closure.
Yes. Agreed.
He's been a fugitive, from the American justice system. So it's just the fact that she comes in, and every scene she's in, she's very memorable, very scene stealing in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
And so there's the second one. You got like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy is the supporting players. Michael Caine showing up for a little bit. Cillian Murphy.
Sorry. The guy who hired him right in the beginning.
Ken Watanabe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love him in that movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, the scene when he's on the carpet, he's like, you guys are so great, but like I would never have polyester or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
I've always hated the threading of this carpet.
That. Yeah. I mean, and again, that just speaks to the details of Nolan and how he writes characters and stuff. And it's like you said, it's the pinnacle of Nolan. It's what all of his other movies are really good, and even Dark Knight, is great, but that movie is as you said, like
it's 100% Nolan.
It's 100% Nolan, and it's what you said about like learning what he learned with the Dark Knight mixed with Memento, and just really it's phenomenal, and it is definitely. I mean, now here's a question for you, actually, because we talked about in the beginning of the show here. Avatar, right? Avatar kind of owned 2010 in a sense, even though it's 2009 film. Avatar or Inception, which would you rank if we did include Avatar?
I would definitely pick Inception.
I would too. I still would pick Inception.
You look at the thing about it is Nolan has that edge on James Cameron, because looking at Avatar, what you get with Avatar is a visual feast. And I remember seeing Avatar in 3D and kind of afterwards going like, oh my God, you got to see Avatar in 3D. It's a freaking orgasm for your eyes.
Oh yeah.
And it is. And, but when you look at it, it's like, okay, but also 60% of the movie is CGI.
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and I mean 100%. I mean, all of the movie is CGI,
Oh yeah.
but 60% of the movie is solely CGI.
Yeah.
You know,
The whole world
it's just
build
all
is,
motion
yeah,
capture.
it's
Yeah. Um, and then you look at Inception, and it's like that is filmmaking. Inception is filmmaking.
Yeah.
That is cinema. You
Yeah.
are rotating a freaking movie set for stuntmen to fight inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
You are building this the hospital scene, or you know, the snow level scene, whatever you want to, the third level of the dreams.
Yep.
That was like an abandoned hospital that they found in Canada that then they kind of retrofitted to be this,
To be like this
you know,
fortress.
building this
Yeah.
stronghold fortress that they're
Yeah.
invading. And it's like that is cinema.
Oh yeah.
You know, to me, that is
Yeah.
what cinema is. So I don't want to minimize James Cameron's Avatar, because that's a phenomenal achievement when it comes to CGI
Sure.
and 3D, but there's
Mhm.
nothing. I mean, really, there's no cutting edge story there.
No. It's
Whereas
what they call it.
Inception is,
I've heard it's called Pocahontas in space.
yes, it is.
Often,
it's Pocahontas in
yeah,
space.
Pocahontas in space.
Like I said, it's the same. Pocahontas, Dances with Wolves, The
Yep.
Last Samurai. You know, any of that.
Yep.
Any of that. Oh, I have this brouhaha. You know, these are the bad people. I'm gonna go get them. And then,
Yep.
oh wait, I actually love the bad people because they're not bad people.
Yep.
Oh, now I'm gonna fight for them.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's
whatever,
a story
fine.
trope that's gone over and over again. So,
Exactly.
going back to Inception, I do have one more Inception question. Did the top stop?
The top has a very distinct wobble in the last frame of the film. It's that distinct wobble.
Mm-hmm.
But as a lot of people, you know, when it was like, is he still dreaming? Is he not dreaming? Is he still dreaming? Is he not dreaming? I'm of the, no, he's not dreaming. He's in the real world now. You know,
Yeah.
he woke up on the plane. Saito, he rescued Saito, so Saito woke up, and you know, he plays a little Game Boy thing, and they
Yeah.
all land. Michael Caine is there, and kind of one of the staples is that Michael Caine is never in any of the dream worlds. So the fact that Michael Caine is present is kind of indicative that this is in fact reality.
That is
Now,
a great detail.
Whether it is or isn't, because then someone else noted that, well, Cobb, his totem isn't actually the spinning top. The spinning top is his wife's totem.
Yeah.
Cobb's totem is his wedding ring.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, you know, like I don't remember if he's wearing it or not wearing it in the final scene. But I guess in the end, what Nolan came out and said is he's like, I love that everyone's debating it. And I mean, far be it for me to just agree with Christopher Nolan. He only wrote and directed the movie. But
What does he know?
what does he know? But his point in the end is that whether the top falls or doesn't fall is not the issue. The issue is that Cobb has left the top behind him.
Okay. That's
kind of his, where he puts he spins the top and walks away.
Yeah.
And it's like he's paying no mind to it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the resolve of whether it's in reality he's with his kids or whether he is just completely stuck in limbo now. He's
where he wants to be.
Is kind of exactly. And
Yeah.
that's my favorite interpretation of it. So
I like that. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I think it's the real world. For the reason that you stated with his father, with Michael Caine's character, and also like you said, that distinct wobble. And every time you've seen the top spinning in the dreamscape, it didn't do that. It's
right. It doesn't
fun.
wobble. It's a very perfect,
Yes.
symmetrical.
So
static. It's a very static spin in the dream world.
So the fact that it wobbled at all for me was enough. I just felt like, okay, he's in the real world, and I don't know, maybe that's just the optimist in me too. Oh, he's in the real world. He's got his kids back, and that's kind of what I thought. So, but dude, that's it, man. The top 10.
That's it.
Top 10 of
top
2010.
10 of 20 or what are we? Top
2010.
10 years later.
Yeah, top 10 10
top
years
10,
later.
10
yes.
years later.
Dude, what an awesome list you had, man. And I can't believe.
Yeah, same to you. I mean, we're all.
I can't believe some of the movies I left off my list. Now, like, now,
A lot of years are neck and neck. Like True Grit, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Easy A. Those are all
yeah.
like they're in like the top 15 for me.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and the thing is, again, it was just such a stacked year for really good,
Yeah.
cinema and really good movies. And
Yeah.
it was hard. It was really hard. I was like cringing when I'm crossing movies off my list, going, "Oh God, I can't believe I'm getting rid of this one." But yeah, no,
Yeah.
dude. So this was fun, man, and thanks for doing this with me, and
Yeah.
till the
So
next
what do we have to
time.
say? Seek them out,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, dude.
Seek them out. Give them another chance.
Every movie listed on these two lists are amazing. So yeah, please do check them out. And yeah, I think with that we'll say goodbye. And thanks for doing this.
Till
and
next time.
Yeah, till next time, man. Cool. Thank you, sir. All right.